Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. Welcome back. And this is part 4 of repairing the Zenith radio. I want to really thank you for all the subscribers watching all these videos. Really, my goal is to create these videos so a brand new person can use the information and be able to get into the hobby. It is really a wonderful hobby and very rewarding to bring back something that totally dead back to life and sing again. I highly suggest to go back and watch the other part of this radio, which we spent time to fix 2 large crack and bakelite and also repaired a missing portion of the bakelite. We also start working on the chassis and installed new capacitor inside the filter capacitors. Coming up part 4, we're going to discuss about how to test paper capacitors, install new capacitors inside the old paper capacitor. We also want to discuss how to read resistor values and reinstall those resistors. I hope you enjoy all these videos. You have a great day. I use this cheap soldering iron and it's already heat up. This is for this type of job, and so the best way, really the way I do it, is tons of way of doing this. You always want to wear gloves because this thing gets pretty hot to protect your hand, right? So this is O2, and so this goes inside that paper capacitor. So this is already heat up. To heat this up like that, so it goes through. It's so simple. I'm just pressing it gentle before all this wax comes out like that. Again, take your time, you're not in a rush. So this side come out, right? That's why I put it in cardboard, because this is messy. And I don't want to get in my gloves, that's why I'm wearing paper towel. I'm using paper towel. So this, now I'm going to go other side. Heat up this side. This is just a screw. So I'm going to screw this inside like that. Just by hand, right? All right. Now I'm pressing down. See? And pop down. See, it's pretty small. All right, this cam, now it's totally empty, as you can see. See right there. So we're going to install this capacitor inside here. But before we do that, here, this is a 0.05 microfarad, 200 volts. So we want to make sure before we install it inside, this in the correct range. There's 2 equipment you can use, and you can use this multimeter, and majority of them they have that reading that you can set it up, or you can use this. I will show you both of them. So you set this up. And that is 49, so it's almost 50. All right, so let's use the other one. Let's set this up. You turn this on, and here it says 48.43, so they're close to 0.05. And I just want to show you these two so you can use any of them, to measure this. So this is in the right range. All right, let's install this new capacitor inside the old paper capacitors like that. So to do that, I'm using this glue for the glue gun. I want to show you what I do with it. I have different size, depends of, some of them they're small, some of them they're large. So it seems like this larger one, it fit perfect. So this is too small for it. So you put this aside. So you have an option to use the glue gun itself or use the soldering iron. So you can use any of them you're more comfortable with. So I'm gonna use the soldering iron, put the one aside. I'm gonna hook this to electricity to warm up. All right, what we're gonna do this, you have a razor here and a business card, because I don't want to cut this for makeup. So if you look at here, that goes inside. You have about a quarter of inch or so. I need to cut this, about that size, about right here. So I need two of them. So we just cut it like that. Okay. Then I'm cutting this in the half. Put the razor right here. Be careful you don't cut yourself. You press it all the way down like this. All the way down. Alright. You see how it went halfway? Like that. Alright, hopefully you can see that. Again, please be careful you don't cut yourself. I'm going to open this up like this. Open it like that. Install this wire right in the middle of it. Like this. See? Like that. So I need to cut another one for this side. Okay. See? Of course, then we install this inside like this. So I'm going to remove one of them. It's like that. You press it down. It's just a perfect size, see? Right there. Right in the center. Let's do this side too. And it's pretty tight. If you like to, it is pretty tight. You really don't need to do this, but if it's the glue is really smaller than capacitors, you can get this heat go around it like this and melt it in. Which this is really is not necessary with this one because it fit just perfect. See, it fit just perfect here. So just want to show you can do that if the glue is too small. All right. So that is how they call it stuff the old capacitors. So that's how it's going to be again. The Zenith, and that is 0.05 microfarad, 400 volts. So that's how we stuff capacitors. Okay, I put this capacitor inside here, and I actually measured it, marked it with a pen. See, I marked them right there. So I'm going to make it, I believe they call it pigtail. You get a small screwdriver like this. You put it right here. And then I start twisting it. I'm doing pigtail because I do not want to remove the original one where they being soldered. So it's the small radio cannot get, I have a hard time to get to that area. So this is the best way to do this. So you get this, you turn this around like that. You leave a little, shouldn't be too close to each other, little gap between them so the solder can get to it. The second one going to be right here. So the same concept again. You see? Now it's inside the other piece. I can solder that one. Then I'm going to come work in this one. I'm going to push this wire away so I don't mess around with it. I'm going to bring my magnifying glass so I can see. It's a pretty tight area. Okay, that side finished. Let's work on this side. All right. And let's solder this side as well. Now you see why I make those pigtails. I think they call it pigtails. This will be easier to solder. Otherwise, I have to remove the original, and it's pretty tight spot, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, this side is finished as well. Now I can put them in better position. So I don't want to touch anything. Make sure they don't touch any other wires or the chassis. Pressing this wire down. See that side? See this one? And the other one is right there. Right there. All right, it's not touching anything. Excellent. All right, it's the time now to solder, with capacitors and resistors, hooking up the other wires to it, electrical wire. If I put the resistor between these two, then I'm not going to have enough space to solder here. It's a pretty tight area. So I might hook up, the capacitor to this side first, just one side, put the resistor, then put the other capacitor over resistors, goes to this right here. So let's try to do that. Meanwhile, here there's another wire also goes to, is the negative side of, goes to the line wire. And this is the negative side, the electricity. So it is going to go to negative side. So let's start working on that. All right, I cut some of this heat shrink, tubing, put it right over this. So I'm going to install one side of the capacitors that we discussed, and then put the resistor. I'm going to bend this right here. All right. You see there's not that much space, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. One more time. Okay. So you see one side is connected. Also, the negative here from the capacitors hook up to this one as well. Alright, before we put the capacitors back, we want to check all the resistors. The best way, usually what I do, all the tubes is out of the radio, and now we want to measure the resistors before installing capacitors. So we're focusing on this one. See the colors yellow, violet, and green. And there is no fourth ring. That means it's a 20%. So what I do usually to figure this out, I go to this website. It's called EE Web, and there is a chart here. What you do, you just come here and you select, as you see, I select yellow. You just click on it. Violet, number 2. The third one is green. And then you look at in the bottom, the last one, 20%, but they don't have here 20%. I select just the silver. All right. Then it tells you in the bottom right here what that resistor reading should be. That's about 4.7 meg resistor. Okay. I hook up this to my voltmeter, and here's what it shows. Set it up in the ohm, and is 4.655. So you're right on track. You remember it's about 20%. What the schematic says that if there's no color chart, R6 is 4.7, and those numbers can be 20% off, and still we are in the range. All right. So they have the same thing for capacitors. Tells you all what type of capacitors you need. So hopefully this is helpful to the brand new person. You know how you figure all these things out. That resistor is right here. See, that's where the resistor is. And so we are right in range. There's another website that I check for different resistors. You can just find out the reading as well. All right. So that's the best way. Again, I'm going to check all these resistors, before I put the capacitor back, because I don't want to put capacitor, put everything and find out one of the resistors are bad. I create an Excel spreadsheet. So I enter the ohm. The last band is none. Is usually is a 20%. If it's a silver, is a 10%. If it's gold, is 5%. When I key that, it gives me all the information I need. It gives me this line is a minimum or the maximum. And so you see the numbers, and our resistor is right on the range. So that resistor is working. So for every resistor, I key this number right there. It tells me, what's the last band, what color is. If the schematic called, let's say silver, then I know what the range are. That if when I'm testing with multimeter, I know if it's in the right range or not. If it's out of this range, then definitely I replace it. Hopefully this is helpful for those people that you just got started and want to know how to measure all this. Yes, so let's clean up here this solder, the one that I already removed the wire. Let's clean those. And the way usually I do, to clean them is very simple. Sometimes it's easier to add solder to your soldering iron, then you're going to melt the old one quickly, like that. So you push this through the hole, and that's how you clean it. Okay, that is clean. These are the tricks that you have learned through the years. Otherwise, it takes you forever to melt the old one. See how fast they came out? All right, let me show you. Let's see right here. This goes through easily. That's where the wire goes. And the other one as well, right here. All right, so those are clean. So let's figure out which wire is negative and which wire is positive. I have to track this down to the radio, and always, as you know, the positive goes to the switch, and the negative or neutral goes to the chassis. Okay, so that's very important. This gray, I looked at it, when I was pulling it apart, the gray wire, it goes to hook up to it as well. And the brown comes right to this tube. I believe is a 35W4 right here. I'm going to hook up to here. So I need to install it this way, right? So the gray, where is my gray? Right here. There's not enough space, folks. I'll hook up this one right here. And cut some of this wire. All right, let's try it one more time. I'm just checking to see if wire went through the hole, and yes, using the magnifying glass I can actually see it. All right, great. Let me solder that, all those together. Just want to make sure the solder get everywhere. Let's put the resistor in. After resistor, we're going to solder the other wire. Again, there's not enough space, so we fit this side in. Then we want to resistor is soldered in. Now let's work on a capacitor. All right, let's now solder this side of capacitor to this right here. What you want to do, you want to make sure this does not touch anything here. That's why I keep moving things around, maneuvering it back and forth to make sure nothing do not touch any of those. Let's try it. Or touch the middle here. That's good. We have a clearance right here. See, I'm looking when this closed like that. Is there any clearance here? Yes. Yes, it is clearance. Nothing touching the middle. Okay, that is good. We can continue now. All right. Yeah, that was the goal, so they don't touch each other. And we accomplished that task. One more wire. This goes right to that pen. And we should finish with on the chassis. You have one more capacitor here. And we'll replace that one as well. It's a paper capacitor. It's not leaky at all, but I will replace it with a new one because I don't want to have an issue down the road. Let's work on that as well. I'm going to go underneath. Don't want to touch anything. Remove this capacitor around. The pins are so small. You can see what I'm doing. I'm heating up the wire and forcing it through. Okay. Let's cut these capacitors off. This is the last one I'm going to replace. So I already cut one side. So let's cut the other side as well. I'm going to cut it pretty close to the capacitor. And all right, now let's stuff this with the brand new capacitor. All right. Again, remember it goes between this post to that post. That's why you cut one at a time so you don't get overwhelmed. As you saw, I believe years ago, I cut this too, and so I didn't work on radio, just put it in there. I had a hard time looking through the schematic and trying to figure out where those capacitors they go. So definitely, if you do this, you're brand new, replace one capacitor at a time. Please do not cut all of them. You're going to get overwhelmed, and there's going to be a lot of work. It's going to take so much time to figure it out. That's the best way. You just take your time. These radios are sitting for so many years, and so another day or so. Cares, right? As long as it's finished. So let's work in this capacitor, and I installed a new one inside, inside this old capacitors. This capacitor, I just want to check to see what condition it is. Of course, I remove it. I'm not going to use it, but just to see. It is 0.05 microfarad. So let's see what actually readings, what it actually read. And it says 79.48 NF. So let's check the other one. This is the newer capacitor. I guess they call it the yellow jacket because it's yellow, right? So let's see what this says. .86 NF. The new one is fine. So that is why, even it's not leaky, capacitor is not leaking. You see the wax still is there. You want to change them. Don't trust these things. At first I looked at it and said, it's okay, but then now I look at it's pretty high than what it's supposed to be. As I mentioned in my other project that I was working on, I'd like to keep everything as original as possible. I like this twist of the old capacitors, inside a paper capacitor. Then I can bend it, install it close to the bottom of the other one and solder it. Because I do not want to unsolder those, you see. If I had lots of space, I could do that. We're going to bend this like that. See? And we're going to bend this as well, like that. See, they're both done. Okay? That goes inside the wire like that, you see? Inside all the way down. And now I do the other side. Okay, it's already done. Alright, you see what I did right there? Those, hopefully you can see it. There's a two pigtail that are inside the old wire. Now I'm going to solder those, then we should be done. Alright? Let's solder those as well. Okay, the other side. Alright, both sides is soldered. Now I'm going to cut the extra wires. Those are the old wires from the old capacitor. Remember, I made those long so I'd be able to do this when I cut them. These are the great tools to use for this type of work. I'm going to hold the bottom of it so it doesn't drop. See, it's cut because you do not want to leave those extra in. Might touch other parts. Let's cut the other one as well. That's a good tool to get between a very small area. Alright, both is cut. Just want to make sure it's not touching anything. Alright, everything is fine. All the capacitors and resistors are done. The last thing we need to install is a power cord, but let's talk about some safety. Majority, almost all the old radio here in the United States, when you purchase them, it comes with a plug like this. They're both same size, so when you plug it in, you don't know which side is a positive, which side is a negative. Especially with the old radio, you want to know which one is positive, which one is negative. For safety, you want to get rid of this type of plug, and you want to use a new plugs that here in US, you see, there is a different size. And every plug in the household, there's a small size and a large size. And checked on the internet, the small one is always positive, and the bigger side is a negative. So what you want to do, you want to make sure positive side, the small side, be hooked up to the switch. We need to mark the wire, which one actually connected to the positive side. See, this is the small side, again, is a positive. So the best way is put your multimeter, Doesn't matter which side. Put it here, the small side, right? We're going to test to see which wire is actually connected to positive. So we're going to put the multimeter is making sound right here. That's why you need to have a good multimeter to do this type of thing. And then I'm going to take this side. Let's see which one is positive. If there is a sound, it means you know there's a connection from this side to the small side, of course. You see, there's no sound. So that is a negative side. This positive side, right? So this is the positive, right? This is where I need to go to the switch, the positive side. So I'm going to mark this, use something to mark it. I know this is positive side now. I know this need to go to the switch. So again, no sound. It says with a small one. And as soon as I put it here, sound. So we marked it correctly. Again, please make sure to put positive to the switch, because when you turn off the switch, it's going to turn off that. Still the negative side goes through the radio, but at least it doesn't make any connection to this. I hope that makes sense. This is for safety. That is what I do with all my radios. Overseas, you should have the same thing as well. If you don't, after you find which one is positive in your country, you mark it red. Okay, you mark it red, so you know that should go to the positive side. Also, if yours is different, find out which one is positive and mark that as well. You know, mark it so you know the red goes to the other that you marked. Again, we do this for safety. You're dealing with the old equipment. If you put it the wrong side, it could become a safety issue. And we want to make sure that you all enjoying this hobby and you're safe and secure. All right, when everything's soldered, now I'm going to cut the extra wire here off. Okay, this is out. This is out too. So let me show you what we did. We put the wire in as cord and made a twist on it and then solder it. This is how it looked like. You see that? All right, everything is set. Now let's install this thing. It was pretty tough. There's not that much space, but it's done. Let's put this back together. This side goes like that. Okay, that is good. Perfect. All right, let's put the screw in. Okay. Screw back here. All right, this is closed. I want to take the opportunity and thank you for taking your valuable time watching these videos. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel and you will be notified when a new video being uploaded. You have a great day.